Plaintiff Matthew Lyon says the defendant is his little brother, and they were close growing up because they lived in a rough neighborhood. Matthew claims at age 13 the defendant got caught stealing a car, and from that point on he was constantly in trouble. Matthew's suing for identity theft because he claims the defendant got traffic tickets in his name. Defendant Michael Lyon admits that he wasn't the best kid growing up, but insists he learned all of his bad habits from Matthew. Michael claims Matthew not only got in trouble for impersonating an FBI agent, but he also once chased a homeless man and beat him with a crutch. Michael denies owing Matthew because he insists the tickets were reissued in Michael's name.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Tell me what happened.
Well, Mike's my little brother, and we grew up in a tough neighborhood of Chicago Heights, and kind of we're 2 out of 4 kids that my mother had to deal with. Her and my dad never really had a good relationship, so he was kind of in and out. So really, we had to like stick together a lot.
2 boys, 2 girls?
4 boys. That's why it bothers me to have to be here today to sue him, but I really have no other choice. When he was 13, he got caught stealing a car. He kind of just got a slap on the wrist for it. So I think it kind of made him feel invincible, and it kind of started progressively getting worse.
He was in trouble a lot?
He was in trouble a lot.
You were right there with him?
Oh, no.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I know it. My mother had 4 boys by herself in the tough neighborhood. Me and my brother used to be together on our stuff. I was worse than him. He's subject to be like you. He did all this, Your Honor, and this and that. You were with me half of it because I took it too far. He just took it further than you.
Maybe that's the case.
Go ahead.
Before he was 21, he had a DUI on his record, and he mostly had issues with driving. So in September of 09, he was in jail for driving on a revoked license. And at that time, I got a notice in the mail saying that I owed over $1,000 in fines.
So before we get to the lawsuit and the traffic tickets, let me allow him to give some background if he'd like. Sir?
Okay. Well, yeah, like my brother said, we grew up 3 brothers, single mother, didn't have a father. I'll admit I wasn't the greatest kid, but everything I learned watching him.
Thank you.
He used to go around shooting out windows with BB guns. So when we were in 4th grade, had the FBI come to the school. He impersonated an FBI.
We didn't go that far. What? Everything you just mentioned, me and my brother did the same thing. Go ahead.
He impersonated an FBI agent and left a prank phone call on a teacher's answering machine.
Your Honor, I was 13 years old. It was, it was a prank call.
13 in a tough neighborhood is grown.
I guess that's
right. So you act like because you were 13, you didn't know what you were doing. If you're in a tough neighborhood, you know what you're doing by 8. Go ahead, sir. You all were down together.
If that wasn't bad enough, there was one time where he chased a homeless man down with a crutch and broke his hand.
Your Honor, that's not true. I didn't chase a homeless man down. I didn't.
Tell me about it then.
Well, when we were young, I would drive around with my friends, and one of my friends had a broken leg, so he had crutches on him at all times. And we kind of had a thing where we would drive around in Chicago Heights. There's a lot of night walkers and people like that around, and we would just drive around, scare them. Try to, swing the crutch at them, freak them out, just stupid little kid stuff.
Did you all at any point bother to try and get you some money? I mean, I'm glad you didn't. But that's what me and my brothers, we were trying to get some money. It wasn't no prank. We wasn't risking prison for pranks. All right, go ahead, sir.
We were close until he was 18. He left for the Navy. Okay. He was there a little under a year, returned home, and he's a completely different person.
For the better?
Some, but I say for the worse too.
This is so strange. This is the exact story with me and my brother. My brother went to the Army when he turned 19. And I got progressively worse, and he came back a different man, somewhat better. He influenced me in the beginning. I took it way farther than him. He went to the Army. Sir, tell me about why you're suing him today.
Okay, well,
You got a notice in the mail saying what?
I got a notice in the mail saying that I had 3 tickets out of Crete, and so I knew I didn't get any tickets in Crete. Coincidentally, Mike happened to be on the phone with my mom from jail at that time, and I said, Mom, ask Mike if he was driving around saying he was me. She asked him, no, that wasn't me. Run down to his room, go through his stuff, find a ticket crumpled up with my name on it with his car's information. So that was my proof there. Went to the police station, talked to the officer who wrote the tickets. He told me that he would reissue them into his name. It was a month before my license was supposed to be suspended for not paying the fines. So I went and I talked to the officer, and he told me that he was going to take care of it, that when he went before the judge, he was going to say, he made his mistake. I was not the one driving. So he told me it would be taken care of. So then 2 months later, I'm driving, find out my license is suspended. I had no clue. My car got towed that a family member had given me when she passed away, and I was not able to get the vehicle back because it was still in the deceased person's name. And that was really like the only thing that I had from my aunt.
Sir,
Yes, Your
what
Honor.
do you have to say about this?
I admit that I used his name. I had a warrant at the time for the failure to appear for the DUI. They pulled me over. I was driving my friend's car. I was in the middle of buying it off of him, and he had a warrant too for three class 3 felonies. So they pulled me out of the car thinking I was him, and they wanted to bring me right down for that. And I was real nervous. Didn't want to go to jail. They asked me my name. I gave them my information. They pulled up his information. Pulled up his picture.
You've been giving his information so much you think it's yours. Go ahead, sir.
I gave him his information. The sergeant came, pulled up his picture, looked at it. They let me go. He had a expired license at the time. So the cop gave me a ticket for expired license and no muffler or loud muffler and no insurance. And then it was the next day I was walking in town. Police officers knew who I was, picked me up on the warrant. Never had the time to tell my brother what happened. And then I was in Will County
You were in jail. You had all the time in the world.
Well, I did talk to him on the phone. I got to explain to him the story. I told him what happened. The Crete officer came down there a few days after and gave me the tickets in my name, but I never had a court date.
So they reissued the tickets in your name?
In my name, gave me obstruction.
So you shouldn't owe.
I shouldn't owe, but that's not the case. The officer never followed through with what he had to do, so these tickets that weren't. And he acknowledged,
go ahead, what do you have?
this is from the officer. It's the tickets that he rewrote to
Let's see them,
Mike,
please.
and it is interference with the village officer.
How much are you suing for the tickets?
The tickets are $1,292.
And does this represent $1,292?
Those, I have right here copies of what I owe.
Let's see it, please. That's what I need. What is the latest balance based on them notifying you? And the car, what is the value of the car?
$1,920. I have the blue book value.
Let's see it. The question becomes whether he's the proximate cause of the loss of the car, because I'm tempted to just conclude he owes the impounding fee. Because it was your responsibility to make sure your paperwork was correct.
Well, yes, Your Honor, and I thought that I had done that by going to the police department, speaking with the officer who wrote the tickets.
No, I'm not talking about the tickets. I'm talking about the ownership of the car. You're saying that he owes you for a car because the car had not been transferred to
Your Honor.
you.
Right, and I have a statement from my mother right here saying why we weren't able to.
Did it have anything to do with him?
No.
That's my point.
Right, Your Honor.
You not having your paperwork together is what caused the car to be permanently taken from you. He should pay for the impoundment fees and anything unrelated to the ownership, but when it comes to the ownership, that's not his fault.
Right, Your Honor, but my reasoning behind that is that I had just recently got the car about 6 months before that, and we got the title, and the title had a lien on it. I had to send out for the release of lien for this company that's changed 3 times since 1999. It was a big process, and just as I was in the middle of the process, the car was towed.
And you couldn't complete the process. Why?
At that point, I could have completed the process, but I would have had to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get the title back.
That wasn't his fault.
Right, Your Honor, I understand that, but I never got the vehicle back.
How much were the impound fees per day?
Oh, it's $30 per day.
That's what I was about to say. I'm going to give you $1,000 on the car, and that is to represent the impound fees. That's a reasonable amount of time, about 35 days. You may have had to come up with your money to pay to get it out of impound. That's not for the ownership of the car. That was your issue. Only thing he calls is the car to be impounded.
Okay.
So I'll grant you $1,000 for the impound fees, and I'll grant you the traffic tickets, $1,292, and you want the remainder in emotional distress for identity theft, and that would be based on this $1,000. I'll grant that as well. That's certainly very stressful, and emotional distress is based on outrageous and extreme conduct, and that is not typical of ordinary behavior, and that is the case here, sir. Anything you want to say for yourself?
No, Your Honor.
You still thugged out, or what are you doing?
Not thugged out, Your Honor.
What are you doing?
I work at a restaurant.
Okay.
In the process of trying to get my license back now.
You ever been to jail for a crime as an adult,
No.
other than this nonsense?
I served 45 days in Will County for the DUI charge.
All right. All right. See, he's not that bad. He didn't escalate. I went way up there. Or down there. I went way down there. That same brother I'm talking about, when he came back from the Army and I came out of college around that time, loaned him my car, and he totaled it. And I had to pay it off because he didn't have a valid driver's license. I loaned it to him to go to the unemployment office, you know. Right. And of course, he never made it to the unemployment office. And because his license wasn't valid, the insurance wouldn't pay for it. So I ended up being $7,000 in debt. Yep.
You're still mad.
Yeah, I'm still mad. That's right. That's why I'm telling on him. Kenny, all right, judgment for the court.
I just want to say, Mike, you know, you're my brother, and I was able to forgive, but I wasn't able to forget until today, so, you know, we can still be close.
I'm just glad everything's over with. Hope we can become brothers again.
Oh, yeah.